Parents, have you ever been on a long journey? Perhaps you are on vacation and your kids are little, and you load up the car, the van, whatever. You throw the kids into the seat, and you know you've got a long way to drive, and you get started, and about 10, 15, 20 miles down the road, you hear the kids say, "Are we there yet? When are we going to get there?" And all of a sudden you get very frustrated and you say, "Kids, hush. We got a long way to go." Well, there's an interesting story in the Old Testament. One of the Bible's greatest prophets, a man by the name of Elijah. In 1 Kings chapter 18, 19, we have an encounter where Elijah stands against a wicked king, King Ahab, who's married to a wicked lady by the name of Jezebel. All of us have heard that name, Jezebel. Nobody names their daughter Jezebel. And there's this big confrontation out on Mount Carmel. And from that, God demonstrates himself. Elijah calls down fire from heaven, and a great, great victory for the Lord. Well, there's an interesting event right after that. Elijah begins to get afraid. I want to read to you 1 Kings chapter 19 and then make a comment. The Bible says, "Now Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, how he killed all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah saying, 'So may the gods do to me, and even more, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them tomorrow about this time.' He was afraid," the Bible says, "and he arose and he ran for his life. He came to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah. He left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, came and sat down under a juniper tree, and he requested for himself that he might die. And he said, 'It is enough now, O Lord, take my life, for I am not better than my fathers.' And he lay down and slept under a juniper tree. Behold, there was an angel touching him, and he said to him, 'Arise, eat.' Then he looked, and behold, there was at his head a cake of bread baked on hot stones and a jar of water. So he ate and drank and lay down again. Then the angel of the Lord came a second time and touched him and said, 'Arise, eat, because the journey is too great for thee.' So he arose and he ate and drank, and he went in the strength of that food 40 days, 40 nights to Horeb, the mountain of God." I love this story because sometimes when we think about Elijah, we think he was greater than life. But the Bible in the New Testament says that Elijah was just like us. And he had a great event, an event that took all of his physical strength, all of his emotional strength, and all of his spiritual strength. And he became depressed. And that's where God intervenes in his life. God gave him rest. Sometimes we need to rest, don't we? God gave him refreshment. God nourished him. And then God gave him renewal. It's interesting to me that Elijah, when he got afraid of Jezebel, ran 200 miles to the south to get away from her. But then after God restored him, he came 250 miles back north and went on the strength that God gave to follow God in ministry. Sometimes we get tired. Sometimes the journey is too long. Sometimes we need to rest. Sometimes we need refreshment. Sometimes we need renewal. And it's in those moments that God comes to us and he refreshes us and restores us in the environment in which we find ourselves. Maybe you need to rest a little bit. Maybe you need some nourishment. Maybe God needs to renew your spirit. God bless you.